What's the plan? What am I going to do now? I just want to talk with you all. Basically, I want to pour my heart out. Back home, closer to my journey, in the flight, until yesterday, until today morning, until today afternoon, I thought a lot about whether to talk this or not. But my gut told me that if I hesitate talking this in front of my own family, if I hesitate talking this in front of my own dear family, how can I call you my family? My love towards my grandfather, come my Guru, and your love towards your Guruji binds you and me in a way that I cannot explain, whether you accept it or not. It binds us in a way I cannot explain, I cannot give words to it. I cannot give words to our relationship, but I do know we are one family. It's far more convenient to live by brushing things under the carpet. It's far more convenient to live in denial. But my heart cautions me and it tells me that I must talk. I am not going to lay any disclaimer because I'm not afraid. Because we are a family. We are together as students of Guruji. I am not going to try to be politically correct because what bonds us is not politics, it's an emotion, an acceptance, and that is love. Where there is acceptance and love, there is faith. And hence, I am not nervous. I am not going to supervise what I'm about to say. And hence, I am going to broach this topic. Back in the 1990s, when I was a school-going girl, I was touched inappropriately by a stranger. I didn't even see his face. I probably didn't even try. I was in a temple with my family, and as we finished the rituals and we were walking back, it was almost a mob, a mad rush at the gates. And there, a stranger groped my chest. And I gave him one punch on his palm. I didn't even turn back to look at him. Back home, I did not share this with anybody. So what I want to say is I know how it feels. I have been there. It's very, very sad. I feel violated, and it is a shocking part of reality. I did not tell this to anybody until today, almost 20 years later. A wrong touch is a wrong touch, period. But I do remember the pain, the anguish, the anger, the shock, and then almost intentionally forgetting that event. Years later, I moved to Pune, and my association with my grandfather changed my life in a very big way. Guruji has taught me, he's handled me, he has touched me, he has touched my life like he's touched a million other lives. And today when I look back at that episode as a schoolgirl and look at these two together, groping and healing, I know them both, I've experienced them both. The touch of groping is himsa, violation, completely un-yogic. And touch of help, touch of kindness, touch with maitri, that is yogic. Bad touch breaks you, a healing touch saves you. So for those who have been wrongly touched, I can feel your feelings. I can feel your shock. I feel the disgust, the anger, the violation, the shock. I understand that. I am with you. But I'm deeply concerned now. With the events of the recent past unfolding, I'm extremely disturbed. I'm sad. I am hurt. It is hurtful. I got fortunate because such a thing never happened to me again in a public space, in any space where any person of any post of any gender tried to take advantage. And there, I have been lucky. People in any post, any level, any influence, any gender cannot use that as a tool, as a power to get by. That's unacceptable. Admit it or not, voice it or not. As a community, we are all now contemplating teaching and studying Iyengar yoga without this touch for safety of both parties. As a student, I'm going to look at any touch with a doubt. As a teacher, I probably will refrain from touching anyone. Or I'm going to think twice before I touch the student, which in a way is good, because we as teachers need to check our intention each time, or even think twice before saying before saying anything suggestive in a class. But this fear of not touching with purity while teaching would be so unfortunate. Can I have on the screen? I'm sold for Iyengar yoga, as are all of you here. I love it. Whenever Guruji taught me, whenever he made me do something, and whenever I received that and did that, both of us were in that moment. When he stood on me in Paschimottanasana, there was no BKS Iyengar, there was no Abhijata in that situation. There was only Paschimottanasana. There was no boy, there was no girl, there was no gender. When he made me do Kapotasana, there was only Kapotasana. Did he touch me? Of course he did. How else was he going to give me the courage? How else was he going to give me the confidence? How else was he going to give me the hope? How else was he going to convey to me the asana? How else was he going to convey to me that I need to communicate with myself? Today, when I look at my children, Satvika and Atreya, and when I hug them, I touch them, I caress them, I fondle them, and I kiss them, I know that had it not been for BKS Iyengar, I would have definitely underestimated the value and the healing power of touch. Today, we are in a time where, because of so-called politeness, we are indifferent. Because of so-called politeness, we are indifferent. We are in a time where, because of so-called courtesy, we are isolated. We are in a time where we seek an appointment to ask for help. We seek an appointment to ask for help. And we ask for permission to help. What a travesty of life. We are humans. We are one set of human beings. We are one species. Nobody comes in this world alone. Nobody is alone. Parampara, tradition, what is that? It just means looking ahead by taking support of our previous generation and lending our support to the next generation when time arises. When that's the simple equation of life, where are we today? What are we going to tell our children? Where are we today? Afraid to touch, afraid to be touched. I want to open out a debate on what is the role of touch in the teachings of Iyengar Yoga. With all these happenings, there was a thought. I spoke with various teachers, with various practitioners from the Institute, from America, from Europe, from Australia. I spoke with my uncle, Prashant. I spoke with my aunt, Geeta. So with all these happenings, there was a thought that should we now adopt teaching Iyengar Yoga without touch. I'm thinking, if Guruji was alive, what would he have told us today? What must he have thought? Again, for those of you who have been harmed, I hear you. It's hurtful, it is unacceptable. Period. There is no other way to it. There is no debate on that. But we better put our heads and hearts together. We owe it to ourselves. We owe it to the next generation. I don't know where we are heading. I was asked for my stance in this situation. I'm a daughter. I'm a wife. I'm a mother. I'm a friend. I'm a practitioner. I'm a shishya. I'm a teacher. All these relationships have touched me, physically and emotionally. And I have reciprocated. I do reciprocate. I will initiate and I will reciprocate. So when I'm asked for my stance in this situation, what stance? It's crystal clear. A bad touch is a bad touch. It's unacceptable, but touch also transmits. The beauty of Iyengar Yoga, the brilliance of Iyengar Yoga is it transmits an experience. Whether it is relief from pain or fortitude to face the inevitable. Whether it is concentration or meditation. Whether it's a solution or hope. Iyengar Yoga transmits. A teacher who's experienced the joy of Vrishchikasana, the glory of Viparit Chakrasana, the softness of Janu Shirshasana, the flight of Bakasana, the thrill of Shirshasana. A teacher who's experienced these things is ever eager to transmit what he or she has received, and while teaching, he or she strives to convey that feeling to the students. But, any act has three substances to it. Hetu, Phala, Ashraya. Patanjali has said it. Hetu means intention. Phala means the fruit. Ashraya means the support that the act takes. What is the intention? What is the result? And what are the tools that are used to execute this act? Hetu or intention is vital. Can I have that image? Look at that Vrishchikasana. You see three characters that are involved in the situation. One man who's making me do Vrishchikasana. I am doing Vrishchikasana. There is a third person whose face you cannot even see. Now look at the man who grabs your attention. He is making a girl do Vrishchikasana. Look at his eyes. Look at his face. They are only with that intention. The face shows the aim, the intent. The doer, I am trying hard to comply with that situation. I still remember that day. It was my first time. And I think thanks to Lois, I have the photo with me. So in that process, if you see, what am I doing? You see his face, you see what he's doing, and you look at my face, you look at my hands. What are my hands doing? I'm lifting the mat. I'm lifting the mat so hard because I'm afraid I'm going to fall. So I'm lifting the mat because I'm trying to go in the other direction where I will not lose my balance, where I will not fall. The teacher, Guruji, is holding the neck of my femur with the elbows in such a way that there is no way I will lose the position of my thighs. The teacher, Guruji, is keeping his knees at the bottom of my rib cage so that my aggression, because of my fear, it does not. My fear to move forward is so aggressive, and Guruji's knees is stopping that aggression from throwing me off center. This is exactly what a guru does. He will neither allow me to fall back, nor will he allow me to fall forward. He centralizes me. This photo is enough to define the guru-shishya relationship. This photo orients, this photo calibrates my stance. If you look at the third character, whose face you cannot even see, but if you look at his hands, his hand is keeping my hand down because I'm unknowingly lifting my hand up. This is Vrishchikasana, the scorpion pose. And let me read out from Light on Yoga. Light on Yoga says, the head, which is the seat of knowledge and power, is also the seat of pride, anger, hatred, jealousy, intolerance, and malice. These emotions are more deadly than the poison which the scorpion carries in its sting. The yogi, by stamping on his head with his feet, attempts to eradicate these self-destroying emotions and passions. By kicking his head, he seeks to develop humility, calmness, and tolerance, and thus to be free of ego. The subjugation of ego leads to harmony and happiness. Light on Yoga. A guru gave me a darshana of this. He made me have a glimpse of this, even if it was for a small period of time on that single day 10, 15, 16 years ago. How else can a guru make a shishya experience this? How else can Guruji make a student do Vrishchikasana? Did he stand on the side? Did he read out the instructions from Light on Yoga? Did he teach from a distance? Can he stand on the side? Can he read out instructions from Light on Yoga? Can he teach from the side, from a distance? No, no, no. He was never an armchair philosopher, and that's one of the reasons we believe him. The intent of any act is vital. It's paramount. It defines the whole situation. Can a gynecologist henceforth do his or her job without dealing with the area that has to be dealt with? Can a doctor heal without seeing or touching? The knife is the same. A knife cuts. What matters is who is holding it. What is his intention? Who is holding the knife? A murderer or a surgeon? You can't ban the knife. You shouldn't. It's the intent which has to be checked. If touch is removed from Iyengar yoga, it will be such a pity. Unfortunately, each one of us is now contemplating that, abolishing this touch. And I do not agree with this. Am I not afraid to take this stance? Am I not afraid to be misquoted or even quoted? In all probabilities, I will be. But I care too much about us. I care too much about you all. who's my family, to keep quiet. The point is, we need to check our intentions behind the actions. Patanjali is eternally contemporary. We give him a time, we say 2000 years ago, but he is eternally contemporary. He spoke of himsa. He spoke of ahimsa, which means he is indicating himsa. Then, so many years ago, there was abrahmacharya, non-brahmacharya, not following celibacy. There was this 2000 years ago. There was asatya, falsehood, 2000 years ago. Even back then, he has said thousands of years ago, Yoganga anushtanat ashuddhikshaye jnanadiptira viveka khyate. It's a sutra which means by the anushtana, by the firm foundation of the discipline of Ashtanga Yoga, three things happen. Impurities are eradicated. The flame of wisdom shines, and the sense of discrimination dawns. Now, our touch should come from these two pillars, Ashuddhikshaye and Viveka Khyati, which means our touch should come from this purity, where a state where all impurities are gone, are removed, and when the sense of discrimination is ripened. One who is touched should see that touch with the same Ashuddhikshaye, with the same impurities having gone, and sense of discrimination being ripened. Here, if the intentions are not pure, the one who touches, the one who is touched, or even the one who's seeing it, if there is no purity or no integrity in that, Iyengar Yoga is not for him or her. This person, wherever he or she is going to behave this way. It's not Iyengar Yoga specific. It's anywhere, any occupation, any profession, any career, any place. So, I do want each one of you here to question your own integrity. If a perverted man is looking at a man or a woman with 1,000 layers of cloths, layers of garments on, he or she might still be looking at that person naked. And a person with a clean conscience would not get bothered even if the person in front of him is not clothed. A teacher may be touching, the student is being touched, an observer is seeing. But for each of these participants, his or her conscience is the key. After all, for any incident, who's the observer? What's being observed? Whether you take the person who's helped, or for the person who's helping, or for the onlooker. It is his or her own witness, our own conscience, our own witness, our own heart, sakshi bhav, or drashta for those who know those terms. Nobody in the world is going to be able to see that. Nobody. So, if you're not clear here, Iyengar Yoga is not for you. Even in the Bible, it indicates that you have to be as innocent as a child to reach heaven, to reach God. It's such a pity that we have lost our innocence now. Any touch hereafter is going to be subject to scrutiny. Any touch is going to be seen with a doubt. One of the problems is, the innocence that is gone forever, and it's gone for everyone. The one who has wronged, anyone who wrongs, has caused such a harm that we are now contemplating on teaching and learning this at most human subject, this what Guruji called an emotional subject. We are contemplating on studying and learning this without touching or without being touched. By casting aside the power of touch, we will lose its great ability. We will lose its great ability to heal, to comfort, to diagnose, to communicate. Artificial intelligence cannot substitute for a mother's love. A 1,000-point notebook on Ardha Chandrasana cannot substitute the support a teacher gives by holding on to the shoulder, leg, and spine. Wiki travel cannot substitute for the joy when you touch the snow in the Himalayas. A photo from the world's best camera cannot substitute the experience of standing in front of the ocean. An instruction can never substitute an experience. What are we going to do? How are we going to walk this path hereafter, ahead now? How are we going to take Iyengar yoga to the next generation with this fear, with this skeptical mind? I don't know. Do I have an answer? For the system, I don't. But as an individual, I do. I promise myself that any time in anything that I do, ashuddhikshaye, impurities having gone, and viveka, the sense of discrimination, will ever be awake in me. I promise myself that any time I touch a student, it will have only one intention, an urge that I may be able to help him or her. I urge all of you, I urge you, those who are associated with Iyengar Yoga, to have a self-evaluation now. One of my friends, he asked me, how has your understanding, how has your association with yoga, with learning, with teaching, with Guruji, how has it changed over time? Now that I've been in a relationship, I've been married, I had my first child and then my second. So when we meet, we often discuss how has it changed over time. I will tell you one very stark lesson that I learned. When my first child, my daughter, was just a few months old, and she had diarrhea for the first time. And at 2 a.m., when I had to clean her for the 12th time that night, in 8 hours, it struck me. Every time that I was cleaning her up, I was more and more gentle. I was more and more gentle when I was cleaning her, more and more sensitive, more and more concerned. And I asked myself, when I touch a student in a class, when I help a person in a therapy class, do I have that tenderness? Do I have that sensitivity? Do I have that concern? Do I reach out to that person? Do I feel that this person should get better with my touch the way I felt my daughter should get better? Purity and discrimination should be the substrate from which anything that you do has to emanate. Your actions, your reactions, your words, your teachings, your responses, your thoughts, your touch. No rule can enforce this. No ethical guidelines can do this for our system or for any system. No letter from Ramamani Iyengar Memorial Yoga Institute, Pune, can guarantee this. It has to be the decision of each one of us here and everywhere else. It has to be that purity in every single time of touching or helping a person. When we open this channel of communication with ourselves, the inert self, your mind, your heart, will always discriminate. It will always tell you what is right and what is wrong. Say a boy or a girl, say a girl is drowning. Will I ask for permission to help her, to save her? My only intention is I should save her from drowning. In that act of helping her, I pull her out of the water. And then what do? I have to touch her. I'll have to pump her chest to bring out the water. I have to give artificial respiration to revive her. If someone, either the helper or the onlooker, has any other intention while pumping the chest to get out the water, or during the touch of the lips during revival, I really can't say anything. It's disgusting, it's inhuman. Even inhuman is not the word for it. Oddly enough, anything that is labeled as inhuman behavior, as a matter of fact, is only seen in the human species. For every individual, the intention is clear to himself or herself. I implore you to please, please be in touch with that. When Guruji touched our lives, he made us come in touch with our own selves, and that's the point. Not just connecting the palms to the feet in Padangushta Dhanurasana. It's not about connecting the chin to the shin bone in Uttanasana. He made us connect with ourselves. So, should we adopt teaching Iyengar yoga, conveying Iyengar yoga without touch? I love Iyengar yoga too much to see it decay because of this apprehension. I love my grandfather too much to see this potential of Iyengar yoga to touch lives disappear. I love Iyengar yoga too much to see it decay because of this fear. I love you all too much to know it but still not say it, and so here I am saying it. Seeing, hearing, smelling, taste, and the sense of touch. These are inborn. They are innate. Nature has given them to us. Nature has endowed us with these gifts. Nobody taught us these skills. Nobody teaches a child how to see. Nobody taught you how to hear. Nobody taught you how to sense touch. Nobody taught you how to touch. It came with us when we were born. How we use it is what life is all about. Don't be afraid of anything. For those who were wronged, I regret that it happened. I wish I could do something about it, but I cannot. For those who've come forward with this unacceptable behavior, I applaud your strength and your courage, and I thank you for coming forward. I thank you because it has brought us together. It has made us think together. For those who are afraid to come forward, don't be. I am with you. We are all with you. I only appeal to you all to be honest. Whatever the situation, be honest. Whether it's about what you're saying, whether it's about saying what you saw, or about saying what you have not seen, or about not saying what you've seen, or about not saying what you've not seen. Whatever the situation. Whatever the situation, I only appeal to you to please be honest. This is the ground on which BKS Iyengar lived, practiced, taught, touched. Let's be honest. If at this point, if your intentions are not clear, please, Iyengar yoga is not for you. Being truthful, being honest, this cannot be enforced. You need to cajole yourselves towards it. I am confident we can do it because my grandfather believed in us. He would not have given us this wonderful science, art, philosophy if he did not have that trust on us. Let us be clean in our hearts. Let us be clear in our heads. Let our intentions be pure. Let us be simple. Use, abuse, misuse of power, of situation, of gender is not acceptable. Leaving the community is not the answer. Living the way Guruji founded this system is not the answer. Yoga is union. It yokes together. It brings us together. Let us not stray away from each other. BKS Iyengar touched our lives. He has given us a candle. He has given us a candle with which we can light many more candles. with which we can light the candles of other voyagers. Let's not lose this potential. Let's not lose this brilliance. Let's not lose this beauty. Don't be afraid. Fear kills. Ashuddhikshaye, impurities eradicated, and viveka khyati, sense of discrimination. Whatever you do, check your intention. Purity and discrimination, I'm insisting this again and again. I'm using these words again and again because I believe that you and I together can light a better future. BKS Iyengar opened his heart out to anybody who wanted to learn. BKS Iyengar opened his heart out to anybody who wanted to help the others. His purity and integrity were crystal clear. Let's uphold the values our Guru stood for. Whatever you do, check your intention. Ashuddhikshaye, viveka khyati, eradication of impurities and sense of discrimination. I am with you, now and forever, because I belong to you and you belong to me.